Hello and welcome everybody to Crypto Rosetta. My name is Savage and today we're going to be having a look at Bitcoin. Before we jump into the price action, I just want to say thank you for watching. If you are enjoying the content, please smash the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video. And why not leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description you'll find a link to Discord. Come check it out, it's free to join. Okay, so let's have a look at what we got going on here. So I'm having a look at the structure here. And, there is still the potentials that we talked about yesterday. And we're looking for this. Basically, what we're looking for is further evidence that we are looking for a bigger, stronger move up here towards this 35,192 for a third wave. So if this would be the case, if we had to move directly up into this zone, what I'd be then looking for is a fourth and potentially a fifth wave to the upside here. So it is not clear though whether this move is actually completed, and we could actually still look to come back down into this zone of this 26,631 to this 24,810. We were also talking about that possibility we might get a push to the upside first before we look to come down one more time. And basically, they would be looking at this as a bigger flat correction, something like this to play out. So we're going to discuss the internals now. And basically, what we're looking for is for as long as this support area here holds this 24,810 to this 26,631, potentially we can look for this possibility of another 1-2 here. Alternatively, if we lose this 23,896, we would have to argue that potentially this wave 1 is up here, and then we could look to actually find support again in this box area lower down here, or potentially even retest this low, potentially come through it and then look to move away again. So these are the things that I'm looking out for basically. Basically, this 24,810 is going to be a key area if we do look to break down here. If we start to break through this and consolidate below it, and not just move straight back through it, basically it would indicate to me that we're probably going to see these lower prices. So the idea here is we're still looking for the possibility this could be a fifth wave. If that is the case, the support zone that we could be looking for, if we are looking for this to be the end of a move and we're looking for a bigger three-wave structure to the downside, would be between this 20,941 to the 17,582. So now that we've gone over that, basically we're going to come here into the smaller time frames. So within this, it is a bit choppy within this area here. Potentially we can argue that within this structure, there could be something like a triangle forming. I am keeping an eye on this. There wouldn't be enough touch points, though, if this is the case. And what I'd be looking out for would be basically something like this, where we're looking to form a horizontal triangle here, where potentially we could see this play out where we get this as an A, B, potentially we could be in a C wave, D, and then E, and then actually look to break down from that point. So this is something that's still on the cards. We need to just be cautious though, because potentially we do have this as a 5-wave move here. We talked about this potentially being a wave 2 and then having a bigger sell-off here, and then looking for that possibility that we've had some extension within here. Because of the fact that we've had this move here, to the downside, which does look like a 5-wave move, I am still looking for that potential to actually sell off lower here. So this is something worth keeping an eye on. If we form something like this, potentially it could even be done. If we were going to say that it formed as a double zigzag, as a C wave or more complex one, but we'd only get confirmation on this D wave to the downside. So what we would have to do is we'd have to stay between these ranges here. And the ranges would be this 28,750 and this B wave low here, which would be at this 27,000 area. For as long as we stay above that, and we just continue to form corrective structure, this is something that can always play out. If, however, we do break above this A wave high here, potentially we could then see this move become something else. We were talking about it previously, potentially we could count this as a wave 2 into this zone, but the structure that we've come up with here is not very clean, so I don't really like it. The only way you could potentially count it um, would maybe be as a diagonal within this structure, but yeah, it's not very, I'm not very confident in that. It would be a lot neater if we did actually come down one more time. Yeah, so that's what we're still looking out for, that possibility to come to the downside here. So still looking for the support box to potentially be retested, but there is also that potential that, like we said yesterday in the previous video, we could see something like this, where basically we're still looking for that possibility to move to the upside in another C wave. So given the current structure here, you would have to argue that this is A, B, and then potentially looking for a C to the upside or WXY, but basically looking for something like this to play out. This is still viable. We were looking at the time relationship. We have gone over it. Now, this would potentially make more sense if this is actually a B-wave triangle. We'll have to keep an eye on it. If that's the case, then what we could then be looking for is basically from this move to completing. It depends exactly where we complete, but we could actually, if we take it from the high, 1 to 1 would only be lower down here, but depending on where we actually complete this, we could be looking for a move down into that support zone. So I'm going to keep an eye on it. We could potentially come back down here. And if we do break down, I'm going to be paying attention to these highs here, as well as you can see there's a little bit of a zone here that we could actually look to move into towards this area of this 26,133. However, uh, it would make a lot more sense to me that we come back down and actually retest these highs. That would make the most sense. But sometimes the market will do something which doesn't actually make the most sense. So this would be coming back into this zone would make more sense to me, but we'll have to see how it plays out. So within this, basically what I'm looking for is that possibility we could actually still see this develop to the upside towards this 29,148. But within this current structure here, there isn't really um, anything that's sort of hinting towards that. This is all looking just very corrective at the moment. Potentially we can argue we're forming something like a diagonal here, where this is a 1, 2, 3, 4, and a 5, then would come back for wave 2. But really, once we start to lose 27,000, it starts to lose that the possibility of that actually playing out. So, I mean, we're going to have to give it a bit of time here. Like I said, it is looking very corrective. You could also argue that potentially within you have something to this effect where basically you get a 1 into here, so some kind of a flat 4 wave 2, and now we're building another 1 2, and then we start to move away. So keep an eye on these levels, but basically it would make more sense to me anyway to actually come down one more time here. So whether this is a B wave triangle within here, or we get an ABC up, potentially up towards this 29,148 area. What we could then see is still have a 5 wave sell-off, and this whole move could still be a flat correction. The only thing is it is starting to get, I mean, it would be a little bit disproportionate at that point. So we need to just see if we just get a direct sell-off from here, that would actually be more proportionate to this primary wave that we had here. So that's what I'm keeping an eye on for, basically. Okay, so that's looking for that possibility of the flat. Depending on how high we came here, if we did come up towards this 1 to 1, then potential targets for this would be this lower down areas here. We can argue that we actually come into this zone as a flat over here, but the problem is within this current structure here, it isn't very neat. We could argue 1, 2, 3, or as a triangle and potentially down one more time. So keep an eye on these lows if we do break down this 26,607 to this 26,548. That would be a potential target area. Actually, that would be slightly different because I would have to move this into this high here. So yeah, I mean that would definitely bring us down at a 1618 towards these zones here of this these areas I was talking about. This 26,108 to this zone here of this 26,386. So keep an eye on that. If this does start to break down, potentially we could see that move into that area. That's the other way we're looking at it, potentially as a flat correction. Let me just remove this ABC. The alternative we're talking about is that actually this was just a shorter X wave here, and we could be looking for this as an A, B, and a C. For the most part, we have come up to the minimum. I've only got the 50% marked here, but this is pretty much into that 382, I'm sure. Let's have a look. There we go. Yeah. So we have actually come up to that 0.382. So as a B wave, we could argue, especially if this is going to be a W, X, and a Y, it could actually be completed already here. In which case, what we would be looking for would be that possibility of actually pushing down 1 to 1 would actually bring us once again into this zone here of this 26,000. So I think this is going to be quite an interesting area. That 50% of this move to the upside comes in at this 26046. Obviously, lower down here, we have this 25522 to this 25382 region. So, if we do break down, going to be keeping an eye on this. Potentially, we could also see this, come back into this channel line, which would actually be towards this 1618 here, depending on how high we yeah, so this is okay, sorry. Yeah, so this is all for that X wave. So this would be actually the 1.618 of the W wave here, this area here, this 25736. So these are some other key areas. 1 to 1 is over here at this 26848. So that's of this W wave. So I'm keeping an eye on this. Potentially we got a move down here. With if this key support zone holds here at this 26581 to this 24794, potentially we can still look for that continuation. But really would want to see some nice strong upward moves playing out off the back of this. Let me remove this. We want to see some nice strong moves playing off. So what if we did get something like this where we break down one more time here, potentially come into this zone. What we'd want to see is a nice strong 5-wave structure developing if this is going to be a 1-2 and looking for that third wave. We wouldn't really want it to sort of bounce around and do something like this. Otherwise it becomes less likely that that is actually what's playing out. So we also talked about that possibility. We need to be cautious for as long as we have 5-wave structure, that we don't start to develop something bigger here, where we look at this as a bigger 5-wave move to the downside. So the key thing within this is looking for the possibility, that we could actually be within 5-wave move down here. The problem I have with this now currently is the way that I was looking at it was actually looking to see if we break down from this point here. That would make it more proportionate. However, we've come sideways here, so it's less likely this is playing out. But if we do get a much sharper move to the downside here in a 5-wave structure towards this 25803, we form a fourth wave and a fifth wave down here. We're going to have to be monitoring this zone of this 25187. If we do move down to this 25187 area, potentially we could then have bigger structure here. The thing is within this, basically, if we did have to see a 5-wave structure like this play out, we'd have to account for the fact that there's probably another fourth and a fifth wave here because of this structure in the beginning. I've only just done this to monitor the move. But currently the way that it's developing, this wave 2 would be getting quite big in relation to this wave 1. So we're gonna have to monitor it. If it takes us high of this 28253, basically, this would invalidate that possibility. But we have actually moved up right here into this golden pocket area a couple of times now, 1, 2. So this could actually start to sell off now. And it'll be interesting to see. We've broken out of this channel. Potentially, we could look to come back in here and find support. And that's what I'm saying. This move does have potential to move up here, but it is just looking very corrective to the upside, which is indicating to me that potentially we do have a little bit lower to come first. But these can always extend out. We could be getting another 1-2 here, and this becomes a 3-4-5. Then you have another 1-2 into here. This becomes a 3-4-5, and then next thing you know, you've got a bigger 5-wave move here where you're actually breaking above some of these key levels here, and potentially even pushing up that uh, into that zone that we were talking about as a possible flat. Up into these zones here, this 29253 to this 28495. If we do, however, start to break significantly above this 29253, so if this did have to develop upwards, basically, we would be very stretched to start saying that it is a flat at that point, because the typical area would be looking for that rejection would be between this 1236 and this 1382, which is 29253. Okay, so I'm going to leave the video there. I hope you found it useful. If you did, please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already, turn on those bell notifications so you never miss a video, and leave us some feedback down below. Also in the description, you'll find a link to the Discord. Come check it out. It is free to join. As well as that, there are affiliate links for both PrimeXBT and BYBIT down there, both great exchanges that we use on a regular basis. If you do not have an account, using the affiliate link does help support the channel, and we do appreciate it. Everyone have a great day, and we'll see you in the next one. Take care.